Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name's Andy and I'm a character designer / writer. This is my first ever voiceover video, so if there are any issues, please bear with me on those. As you read in the title, I'm going to be challenging myself to draw all 70 plus of my original characters. Over the years they've just kind of piled up. But firstly, I've set a few rules for myself. Rule number 1, I have to have drawn them more than 3 times because we've all had those characters we will draw once or twice and then forget about them. Rule number 2, they can't be fanon OCs or different versions of my friend's own characters. I will explain that a bit more later, but let's get into rule number 3. I have to draw them in their most memorable outfit or outfits. I end up combining 2 of them together because those were just the ones I remember the most, obviously. And lastly, rule number 4. I have to draw them with all of their cringiness still in their design. The reason for that last rule is because I used to be a gacha tuber and I was there for 2018. 14-year-old me did not have patience to be doing all that drawing. Also, side note, I won't be drawing the characters that I normally draw for my channel, just because, well, I always draw them. And I'll be using a random wheel picker, so I don't have to decide an order for myself. And with that out of the way, let's get to the first drawing. The first character on a chopping block is Ryder. Ryder was one of my characters that I really just used for fun. He never had a real story to him other than he was one of those wolf hybrids that lived out in the woods. I remember that at one point he had a twin sister, but I cannot remember her for the life of me at all. Anyways, what I do remember is that he had a human girlfriend and she would go out in the woods and it would make him upset because I claimed there were other things living out there, but I never really came up with any. Now we can talk about Ryder's actual design. He always had red as his main color and either green or orange as his accent, so I just put both on there this time. I didn't really know why I gave him Hunter Orange. I just thought it would make sense with the camo, I guess. You'll see it in a minute. Also, where I had to go back in and add his tail because I forgot. I gave him some torn sleeves and actual cut up jeans and stuff because he's living in the woods. There's no way he will be keeping a pair of Levi's nice. And honestly, it was kind of fun drawing his ears and tails, but I haven't drawn stuff like that in forever, so I'm kind of out of practice. I don't remember if the recording showed it or not, but I had to redo his tail and then resize it because it looked a bit like a fuzzy banana. If I were to rework his character to my usual standards, I'd probably make it more fantasy world rather than the modern sci-fi, I guess you could call it, that they were in. So I guess he would just end up being more like a fantasy race than a cliche. Like I said, I really don't remember a whole bunch about his story other than he had a girlfriend who came into the woods and that's how they met. She just wandered in one day and he randomly stumbled upon her and was like, "What are you doing here?" I will say that while I'm pleased of how his actual character himself turned out, I'm not that proud of the background. I don't have much practice in them and I thought, hey, why not try it out right now? It did not go very well. My main problem with it is that where his reddish hair is, that's where the tree trunks are, and then where his green jacket is, that's where, well, the grass is. And that's the finished product. I had a lot more fun with his than I thought I would, so let's move on to the next one. Our second character up is Simon. Simon was a part of the Persona's friend group that you'd always give your characters, but at some point that so-called Persona ended up being more of an OC. She actually did become an OC, really. So I gave her a buddy. The thing with Simon is that I remember 2 of his outfits really in surprising detail. I actually drew the second one a little while back because I just wanted to revisit the characters. I think I did all 5 from the group, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I didn't really like how his character was in that, but I was just redrawing them for fun again, so I didn't really care. First outfit, I did actually draw him quite a few times in my sketchbooks. I will put some up on the screen if I'm not gonna cringe myself out. But yeah, he kind of just wore a striped shirt / sweater, and he also had ears and a tail, but I didn't feel like drawing those because he had the beanie, and I really liked the beanie. I think there were like maybe 4 or 5 iterations between the striped shirt and the beanie one. I just either A, never drew them, or B, they didn't last longer than maybe a month or 2. So yeah, he didn't really have a story to him either, so I guess that's one of the reasons why I never pinned down a real personality for him. Like, originally in the striped shirt, he was kind of like this shy, timid guy who would just occasionally be there in the background. But by the time he got to the beanie design, he was more like the quieter jock kind of deal, I think is what it was. I just remember I made him a lot taller and more broad, but I kind of went back to the leaner version of him. But to combine the two, I just took the beanie and the jacket and the band-aid over the cheek from the second design and mixed it in with the partially striped shirt. I also put his hair back to the lighter golden brown that he originally had, and I gave him his freckles back too. But instead of having purple streaks in his hair from the second design, I changed it to more of a blue just to make the color palette a bit more cohesive. I didn't really like that he had the black and then the neon green and purple the second iteration, so I took it away and just changed up the hues and replaced the purple with blue. In that beanie design, he was really giving 90s arcade carpet, like the ones you would see on the walls. Well, that's about as much as I can say about him because he never really had like a story to go with him. He was just the main character's boyfriend pretty much. Yeah, that's Simon all done, and I think I'm moving on to the third one now. So the third character I got was Cara, and she was this water dragon character from back when I was in maybe middle school or elementary. She wasn't like a gotcha character or anything, but I drew her for some art competition in my state and I did not win, sadly. I don't think I have the original drawing of her anymore, but she was like this seal water dragon kind of body type looking thing, but she had like a pointy head and crap, and she was like mostly blue with I think purple eyes and maybe a purple tail. So I mean, I don't really draw animals anymore, so I turned her into a human. I did that before actually. I have like a couple of versions of her where she's like a beach girl aesthetic kind of thing, but like there's nothing that looks dragony about her other than the fact she had pointy ears and I gave her like a mermaid tail coming off of her. So for this version, I kept the really long hair, and you'll see later in a minute that like I gave her a swimsuit and a cover up to like keep the beach vibe going on. And I thought maybe adding some jewelry onto her would be cute, cause like I mean she goes swimming in the ocean. Maybe she found some oysters and strung up some of the pearls she found.